Mr. President, the American people have heard a lot of excuses over the past few days as to why it is that we're standing at a potential government shutdown here in Washington. Now, our good friends on the other side of the aisle are saying it's over social issues. This plays nicely into a political strategy they decided on to distract people from their own fiscal recklessness. Republicans say the holdup is over the need to reduce Washington spending. The Democrats, including the President, would rather see the government shut down than to allow a reduction in the size and scope of Washington that is perfectly reasonable by any objective standard. Those are the competing messages. And generally speaking, people will probably agree with the party they tend to vote for. But whichever side you come down on, two things are not in dispute in this debate. First, that the whole reason we're in this mess is that Democrats abdicated their responsibility to keep the government funded through this year. That's why we are where we are. And second, the Democrats have rejected the only plan out there, the only one, that keeps the government open, the bipartisan troop funding bill, for no apparent reason. The President says he'll veto it, but he doesn't say why. And Democrats in Congress won't vote for it, even though it funds the Defense Department and keeps the government operational and makes reasonable cuts in spending. In other words, what Democrats are saying at this point is that they'd rather see the government shut down, either because they won't accept a modest amount of spending cuts that fall well within the range of what Democrats previously described as reasonable, or because they won't reinstate a long-standing policy related to one American city that members of both parties, including the presidents of both parties, have approved repeatedly in the past. The majority leader said yesterday that this particular provision relates to an issue that we've been unable to reach agreement on for 40 years. My response is that this is actually one of the few areas of agreement both parties have agreed on this issue for years. Let's be very clear about this. If the government shuts down, it's either because Democrats are pretending that a previously non-controversial provision is suddenly out of bounds, or they refuse to take another baby step in the direction of balancing the government checkbook, something we know the American people want. Neither reason is worth a shutdown, especially when neither side actually wants one. And that's why I believe there will be an agreement here shortly. I've been in many negotiations over the years. I assure you, these are not unresolvable issues. So my suggestion this morning is that both sides sit back and give the negotiators a few more hours to work this out. Let Senator Reid talk with his conference, let the Speaker talk to his, and let's just hold off on the speculation and the back and forth for just a little while here. Both sides are working hard to reach the kind of resolution Americans desire. A resolution is actually within reach. The contours of a final agreement are coming into focus. There's virtually nothing in the troop funding bill Republicans in the House passed yesterday that won't be included in the final package. So let's not disrupt and derail that agreement. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Illinois.
Mr. President, let's make it clear where we are.